Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I am Regina Williams, the barefoot violinist and the RW of Rethinking Weight. And today we are still rethinking protein, addressing that vegetarians or vegans do not have to eat meat to get our protein. Not to argue with anybody's plate, but to open our minds and remember that protein does not only come from meat. Plant-based foods may not all look the same and they may not all have the same amount of protein, but when we bring them together, seeds, oats, nuts, legumes, grains, and vegetables, they can create a strong, nourishing, filling plate. And let me say this again. This is not about putting meat down. This is about lifting up what many people overlook. Protein can come from seeds, nuts, beans, lentils, grains, and even vegetables. Chia seeds and oats have about 17 grams of protein per 100 grams. Walnuts and hazelnuts have about 15 grams of protein per 100 grams. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and kidney beans have about 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Pecans have about 9.5 grams, and macadamia nuts have about 8 grams of protein per 100 grams. Quinoa has about 4 grams of protein per 100 grams and is considered a complete protein. Vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts may not be the highest in protein, but they still bring vitamins, minerals, fiber, and nourishment to the plate. Nuts and seeds are powerful, but they are also calorie dense. So they are not something we have to pour all over the plate like confetti. A little can go a long way. Legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and beans are some of the most practical plant-based protein foods because they are filling, affordable, and easy to build meals around. Reflection. Question: what plant-based protein could you add to your plate this week that you may have been overlooking? Now here's a challenge. Try building one meal this week with at least one plant-based protein: lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, quinoa, chia seeds,
Then we have
nuts. Pecans. Pecans have about 9.5 grams of protein per 100 grams. They also bring healthy fats and antioxidants, and again, moderation matters. Pecans are beautiful, but they are rich. Macadamia nuts have about 8 grams of protein per 100 grams. They also contain healthy fats, but they are also high in calories. So with nuts, the lesson is simple. They can support the plate, but they don't have to become the whole plate. Now let's talk about legumes because this is where plant-based eating really starts to feel practical. Lentils have about 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. They are high in protein, fiber, and iron. Lentils are filling, affordable, and easy to use in soups, bowls, patties, stews, or even over greens. Chickpeas also have about 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Chickpeas can be used in hummus, salads, wraps, bowls, roasted snacks, or mashed like a chickpea salad. Black beans have about 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Kidney beans are also around 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Beans are one of those foods that people sometimes overlook because they seem too simple, but simple does not mean weak. Beans bring protein, beans bring fiber, beans can help you feel full, beans can support digestion, and may help with blood sugar control because of the fiber. Now, of course, if beans bother your stomach, you may need to soak them, rinse them well, start small, or find the ones your body handles better. This is not about forcing anything. This is about learning your body. Now, let's talk about quinoa. Quinoa has about 4 grams of protein per 100 grams. And somebody may say, well, that does not sound like a lot, but quinoa is still special because it is considered a complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids. It also has fiber and nutrients, and it can be a great base for a plant-based bowl. So imagine this: quinoa, black beans, roasted vegetables, greens, avocado, salsa, maybe some pumpkin seeds or chia sprinkled in. Now, we are not just talking about one food doing all the work. We are talking about a whole plate working together. And that is the part I want us to remember. Sometimes we look at plant-based eating and say, where is the protein? But maybe the better question is, how do I build the plate? Because the protein may be in the lentils, the beans, the chickpeas, the quinoa, the seeds, the nuts, and even a little bit in the vegetables. Speaking of vegetables, let's not leave them out. Spinach has about 2.9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Broccoli has about 2.8 grams. Brussels sprouts have about 3.4 grams. Now, vegetables may not be your highest protein source, but they are still important. They bring vitamins, minerals, fiber, and support for overall health. So no, I would not build my whole protein plan around spinach alone, but I would absolutely invite spinach to the plate, broccoli too, Brussels sprouts too, because nourishment is not just one number, it is the whole picture. That is why variety matters. One plant-based meal may have lentils, another may have chickpeas, another may have black beans, another may have quinoa, another may include chia seeds, walnuts, or pecans. And when you start putting these foods together, you realize plant-based eating is not empty. It is not weak. It is not just lettuce and sadness. It can be colorful. It can be filling. It can be flavorful. It can be nourishing. And no, you do not have to do it perfectly. This is not about being perfect. This is about being willing to rethink what we were taught. Because for a long time, many of us were told that protein had to look one way, but protein can show up in more than one form. So today, I want you to look at your plate a little differently, not with guilt, not with pressure, not with confusion, just curiosity. Ask yourself, what plant-based protein could I add this week? Could I add lentils to a soup? Could I make a chickpea salad? Could I add black beans to a bowl? Could I sprinkle chia seeds into something? Could I try quinoa as a base instead of rice? Could I add broccoli or Brussels sprouts and let the vegetables do their part too? Small changes count. And sometimes one small change opens the door to a whole new way of thinking. So day 17, part 2, here is the reminder. Vegetarians do not need meat just to get protein. Protein is not owned by meat. There are plant-based options, and many of them have been sitting right in front of us the whole time. We are not arguing with anybody's plate. We are just rethinking what nourishment can look like, and that right there is part of the journey. Reflection. Question, what plant-based protein could you add to your plate this week that you may have been overlooking? Now, here's a challenge. Try building one meal this week with at least one plant-based protein: lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, quinoa, chia seeds, or nuts. Okay, I hope this helped you. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.